Hi everyone, it's a glorious day, so I'm going to give you a quick plot tour, show you what I've been up to, what's growing and how it's all looking. So we'll start down the middle and on the left. So this first big bed, at the minute we've got some climbing beans on either side and we've got some peas in the middle. Some dwarf French beans there, and the rest is going to be dwarf French beans as well, probably dotted with beetroot and kohlrabi. The middle of this bed, so that's had a load of manure on it, that is going to have some compact winter squash, so like butternut squash, but they're not big plants, so I'm hoping to get 3 in there, maybe 4, we'll see. And then at the back we've got some onions. They were from seed, these are onions from set, and then we've got a little bit of beetroot in there and then some garlic as well. Down this side, so along the back, flower bed, all starting to fill out nicely. And then we've got garlic in here, interplanted with beetroot, some rosa carrots which are just starting to come up, and some spinach as well, some spinach in there. So that is coming along nicely. The garlic is looking really good. I'm pleased with that. Then up this end, I've just done a couple more rows of carrots in here, and then we've got our leeks. I'm going to let these 2 go to seed. I'm going to let them flower because they are about a metre tall and they're just chunked right out. They're looking really, really good. So I'm going to let them flower, let the bees have them for a bit, and then I will save the seeds later on. So I'm going to harvest a couple of others. Most of these are starting to bolt as well, so you can see that there is when it's starting to bolt, so that's going to flower. So really they're not much good for picking now. The centre will be really firm, so again I'm going to let some of those go to seed, let them flower for the bees, which will enjoy those. Then over here, so back down this way, this big bed in the middle at the minute just has chives in it, which are looking amazing. You definitely, if you don't already, you definitely need to grow chives on your plot. I just love them. Anyway, so the big bed, I've got manure on either side, and we're going to have some small winter squash and pumpkins growing up over the arch. So I've got a few nice varieties which are just produce small pumpkins and squash. So they'll be on there. In here I've got, so these 2 beds are sort of carrots and parsnips. This one I only did last autumn for this year. So I've used a mix of compost and coir, which actually works really well. So I've got a few parsnips up this end that have just started to come up. Old seed, so I'm pleased that first row is actually up. This lot, I've got sort of 2 rows there, 2 rows here, probably not going to come up because they are old seed, but if they don't, I will then just put more carrots over this way. Then we've got freshly cleaned greenhouse. Finally got that done. It was so green before, so pleased with that. That's going to be planted up with tomatoes, cucumbers and some peppers later on. Down here, this is going to be salad bed, probably more like kale, hardy salads. So that'll all go into here, and then some climbing beans in this big tub. And at the back we've got our brassicas, so 2 beds for brassicas. Haven't planted anything yet apart from these, which were autumn sown, which have been demolished even with a bit of sheep wool matting. And then in here we've got our sprouting broccoli, which we're gonna hopefully pick a little bit today. So that's looking good. The squirrel did eat the tops of all that lot, but I have got some down here, so we'll get that. Then over here, second cleaned greenhouse, again looking lovely. So pleased to have them nice and tidy at last. Look at that. Over here we have big sleeper bed. So in this one I'm going to have leeks and then any sort of surplus plants that we've got will go in there with that. And we've got our fruit bushes and fruit trees down this side. So we've got, this is like a bush variety of blackberry, which is really nice. And then I've got my little apple tree in the back. This is another little apple tree. Down here, so I've focused on getting this area weeded, looking much better. I'm hoping down the side to just have some flowers, poppies and things like that, which will be nice. In this bed, I've planted today, so I'm doing the Three Sisters planting in here. So I've got some sweet corn, it's actually baby corn. I've got a honey bear, butternut in the middle, which is going to spread out. And then with each sweet corn, I've put either 2 or 3 bean seeds. So hopefully they'll come up, grow up with the corn before the squash gets too big. And they should all grow quite happily in there. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. Down here we've got our raspberries, which are just doing their own thing really. I cut them all back because they were getting really out of hand. I mean, that one at the back, I didn't even plant that, or that one there. They've just popped up themselves. But that's fine. And we've got some black currants. These bushes are looking really good. Did give them a bit of a pruning earlier in the year just to get them a bit in shape, so they're looking quite nice there. And then down here we've got our cherry tree, which does actually have some tiny little cherries on it, so hopefully we can get that before the birds. I've put some strawberries in the bottom. I had them in a planter and they were like sort of the runners that had grown, so each tub has got some strawberries or bulbs or something in the bottom of it. Like this is a goji berry, not looking the happiest. I did move it, but it'll come through. Some strawberries in the bottom, and this is the pear tree, which again, lots of strawberries in the bottom there. And we've got our courgette bed at the front. We've just planted the courgettes today, so they should fill out nicely. I did try last year beans in the middle, but it didn't work very well. Whether that was just because of the year or I didn't plant them very well, I'm not sure. So I haven't done anything in the middle yet. And then this bed is onion sets. So these were autumn onion sets, which I had to plant in pots in the greenhouse and didn't get them in the ground until I think it was March. So they're not as big as I'd like them to be at this stage, but they'll be fine. And I have today sown in between the rows. I've done some Swede Direct. I'm hoping that the onions will help deter the slugs from eating any little seedlings that pop up, but we'll see. We can only hope with that one. And then on this side, so this big long bed, down here at the minute we've got onions from seed. Some of them are multi-sown that have just been planted out as such. And then we've got some salad leaves, some beetroot, a bit more beetroot. These were the onions that we did from seed in the autumn, sort of August, September, and I planted them out maybe, it was either March or April. They're looking quite good. And then I've left just a bit of space, which I might put one of the compact squash plants in, and then it's on to potatoes. So I've got quite a few varieties, and what I've done is the earlier varieties I've planted this end, so they'll be first to harvest, which means up the other end the main crop, which will be the last to harvest, are fine, they're tucked away. So this space down here, once this lot's up, we'll put some leeks in, which are growing in the greenhouse at the minute. So they're all looking good. There's a few that haven't quite appeared yet, but they're not bad. Excuse the pile of weeds there. But yeah, pleased with those. I've used grass clippings. I've used compost and then grass clippings to earth up the potatoes, which works really well. You just sort of tuck it up and under, and that does the trick quite nicely. And then over in this bed, this is our other carrot bed, but I've got some garlic in. These were they were tiny little cloves off the main garlic, which aren't going to come to much, but they're good to plant as a deterrent to help keep carrot fly off my lovely little carrots, which are just starting to appear. So yeah, all looking quite nice at the minute. Now, in case you're wondering about all the pop bottles which are dotted around, they are supposed to, you push a cane in the ground, pop bottle on top, and then the vibration is supposed to help deter moles. I'm not convinced it's working. Whether it's just moving them around the plot, I don't know, but there's definitely still moles here. So I actually today moved one into the carrot bed because there was a huge hole in there this morning. So hopefully that does the trick, but we will see. So yes, so that's what's happening at the minute. It's only this week I've started planting out any of the young plants, so don't worry if you think you're miles behind, because you're not. It's been a very funny year. Everything this year is behind in terms of growth, so you're fine, don't worry. Yeah, and I will give you another update in a couple of weeks and show you how everything's growing.